All right, let's get this kicked off. Oh, there's somebody else coming in. Hold on one second. Let's read. So hope everybody's doing amazing. I appreciate you guys getting on. Man, I tell you, I love these Saturday mornings, man. I remember growing up in the business. We used to do the trainings obviously live at the office. I used to be excited, almost to the point where I couldn't contain myself. And I know that's kind of weird, and for many ways, many reasons. But look, here's for me, the trainings in the mornings, Saturday morning specifically, they had a design, they had a purpose. To me, it was no different than getting up and I remember playing sports. I used to, for the 4 years in college, I used to get up in the morning to work out and get ready and prepare and get better at my craft. That's what the Saturday mornings are for. And I think there has to be a mental mindset that you guys have to develop for these, right? And we really do have some of the best trainers in the company. And it's not just people that are great at what they do, like Jen Lee and Shay and T and Shondell and obviously Samir and Shaq, that goes without saying. But it's more about the experiences they've had, because that you can't replace. You got studs like Sheila, who's an absolute superstar, right? But, there's something to be said about the experiences that Shay can give you from just being here and going through the ups and downs, going in the roller coaster ride. I used to love listening to, I like you listening to, now you get a lot of stuff on Kobe Bryant on YouTube, right? And you hear the stories behind closed doors from other players. I love hearing those kinds of things, right? And that only comes from experience, from being here. So, I thank you guys for getting up on a Saturday morning and really trying to hone in on your craft. And hopefully today I can provide a little bit of some nuggets, as Mr. Maurice Ellison would say, that will help you in this business. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of technical training today. I'm going to really focus in on mindset. And make no mistake about it, technical training, I think, is a foundation that you have to create to raise your level of success here. But it always does start with the mind and how you think. And today is a lot more about the lessons that I have compiled in this business for a period of time. Now there's an old saying. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. Lessons to learn, but I've changed that to include lessons to accept. I think, Ian, that is really people's biggest challenge. It isn't so much about what are you learning as you're growing and developing here. A big part about it is what are you accepting in those lessons, right? And there is a separation there that a lot of people, probably try to avoid. It's one thing to go through an experience and learn from that experience, but it's another thing accepting that experience and making the adjustments. And that's what I want to go through today as we push along, and then hopefully it can help you guys by the end. So let's get it going. Number one, and I think I always say to people, if I try to do this whole training in Spanish, right? Where I say the same thing, I just say it in Spanish. How many of you would understand? Right? Maybe one. I know Kevin would, even though his Spanish is suspect, right? And his last name is Ramirez. That doesn't mean he knows Spanish, right? I know Kenny would have no shot. Ian looks Spanish, but he has no shot. I don't know, Mrs. Powell, if you know it, right? But most of you don't speak Spanish. Now, would it make what I'm saying to you wrong if you don't understand it? The answer is no. No matter how much I scream it, it still doesn't make you understand anymore. See, building a business, growing an organization is like learning a different language unless you've already grown one, unless you've already built something, right? So a lot of times, some of the things that you're going to learn as you start and as you excel in this business, they are lessons that are just new, like learning a different language. It's just different, not right or wrong. It's just different. And you have to choose to accept those lessons from those who are mentoring you, those who are helping you. So the first thing is we get paid to prospect. That is something you do not learn in your whole educational career, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, and in most cases, in most college courses. What do you mean we get paid to prospect? Right? That is not something necessarily that is understood when you're building a business. Now, guess what? You know, it says down here, it all starts with talking to someone. Now, we've talked to people our whole lives, haven't we? The difference is, what are you talking to them about? What is the intention? You know, most of us talk to people about what? Nonsense, right? Sports, right? Hanging out, the weather, you know, all kinds of stuff. Not that all of it is nonsense, obviously, but, you know, politics. I mean, you know how much breath is I was going to say wasted, but that's unfair to say. But how much breath is used to talk about nonsense in our lives? Right? Am I right about that? Right? Well, here you get paid to prospect, which starts with talking to people, except there's a difference. Right? The greatest idea, opportunity, product, or service will make no one any money if it's kept a secret. I like saying that, right? You cannot expect to come here and start a business and stay quiet about what you do. It's never going to happen. I don't care what business you have. I don't care what product you're looking to sell. I don't care how good or bad it is, right? And by the way, just being right makes you no money. So we sat down yesterday, one of my top stud agents, Mr. Elliott, and we had an appointment late last night with a gentleman, a young, he's probably early 40s, about my age. You know, him and his wife do very well, very qualified market, 2 girls. Mr. Elliott, actually, his wife runs a daycare, and they take care of his 4-year-old daughter. That's how they know, that's how the appointment came about. When Mr. Elliott set up the appointment, he said, listen, I would love for you to share, I would love to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing and how it works and all that stuff, and what I'm learning. And he goes, really, what is it? He goes, it's in financial planning. And of course, he says insurance. Tell him not to, but he said, it's okay. And he's, oh, yeah, no, that's great. Look, of course, I'm going to sit down with you, man. You're a great guy. I don't mind helping you, but understand, I already have life insurance. I have a whole life policy. And he goes, and Mr. Elliott, now, Mr. Elliott has a lot of credibility. He's that kind of individual. And he said, listen, please don't take this the wrong way, but you definitely need to sit down with my a partner, because I think there's something wrong with what you have. I think you should listen to it. So the gentleman was okay to do it, and he did. So we sat down yesterday, went over. We spent 2 hours. Now, I used to be called a breather back when I started, because I would do literally a steam call for an hour. Right? So a complete stranger. Now, in this case, it wasn't necessarily my fault, but here's the challenge I came up with, Ian. This gentleman has had whole life policies for over 20 years, him and his wife both, swears by it, has borrowed money to purchase and to buy homes, 20 grand specifically, from the cash value to invest in a property, fix it up and resell it, that kind of stuff. So he swears it's a great investment opportunity where you can pay yourself, all that stuff. And here's the kicker, Mrs. Powell. His mother sold it to him, who was with New York Life for 40 years, who just recently retired about a year ago. So I have everything against me. Right off the bat, we have it against us because of this specific scenario. So we spent 2 hours going over everything and break it down. I showed him a couple of examples. I showed him the video that we have with Dave Ramsey, everything. I think by the end of it, he opened up. He kind of stated, you know, if what you're saying is accurate, maybe we should sit down again. Let me take a look at my policy and all this kind of stuff, right? And I bring that story forth. I forgot why, but I'll come back to me in a second. That's it right there, right? Because I put here, just being right makes you no money. Well, that's the truth. I'm right. I know I'm right. That buy term and invest the difference is correct. That doesn't make me right, though. It doesn't make me any money whatsoever. You have to be willing to open up your mouth. Mr. Elliott was willing to open up his mouth. and say something for the opportunity to go out and help and make a difference for a family, right? The world is full of lonely people afraid to make the first move, right? You have to be willing to go out there and take a chance and make a move, right? Primerica, and this is so accurate as far as it pertains to Primerica. Primerica is full of broke people afraid to make the first move. What is that first move we're talking about? Hey, let me share with you what I'm learning. Let me show you what it is that I do. Hey, would you mind helping me out, Sandra, for an appointment? I would love to share with you, what I'm getting into right now. Right? You have to be willing to open your mouth and make that first move. Nobody gets clout, or maybe after a certain time, right? Like Samir did, years prior, sits down and goes out and writes a $40,000 a year premium policy, right? Those will happen long enough in the business and with the skill set that he has. But you don't expect to come in here and people to say, listen, I heard you're starting to sell life insurance. I need to sit down with you. I want to get a big policy. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. You have to go out there and get it. Find it, right? Now, another thing is one of the most important leadership principles is lead by example. And when I tell you guys in the beginning that we are led by some of the better leaders in this company, this is one reason that comes to mind. And I love what Jen Lee just said, man. And it kind of almost humbled me. I'm just telling you the truth. It humbled me because she says, our team is not doing well. She's talking about hers. And you know what? I'm not going to win. I got to go out and lead them and show them how it's done. Man, that's a powerful, powerful individual right there, right? And if you want to start having a level of success here, guess what? You always remember, you're always on the stage. You're not allowed to show fear, show hurt, show doubt, right? In leadership, that doesn't work. You have to go out there and let them know, listen, I'm in pain too, but let's go make this happen. People have to feel, right? What you do speaks so lightly that I can hear what you're saying. People have to feel that coming from you. They have to see that. One thing from the Super Bowl, again, I'm a huge sports fan, football specifically, even though the Kansas City Chiefs lost the game, think about the strength, the leadership that Patrick Mahomes had, right? And I don't know if any of you saw the game. I'm probably Maurice saw it, Eden. I don't know if Mrs. Powell saw it, Sandra. But think about some of the throws, some of the plays that whoever saw the game cannot say that that Patrick Mahomes lost that game. Right? Think about some of the throws he made, unbelievable throws. And as a matter of fact, the receivers from the other team were like, how in the world did he make that throw? Right? And he was hurt. Some people would argue he had a stub toe, almost like he was on concussion protocol the week before, right? But guess what? Never show doubt as a leader. You can't do that in leadership, right? 10 things that I want you to consider and to have in the back of your mind in ways of leading through example, okay? Number one, and I think the simplest and the one that I believe is the lowest form of commitment is show up and show up early, right? You can't expect to build an organization, to build a team, to have people follow you if you don't show up and show up early. You can't expect that, right? Stay late. You got to be a gym rat. You got to be, this can't bore you. Learning, growing, developing, taking notes, self-improving cannot bore you, right? Always be positive. And that's hard for a lot of people. That's hard. Here's to me the simplest way. Now, I think, always a positive person, even before Primerica. I really was. Always had a smile. I was kind of that individual, right? And if you're not that, guess what? That's okay. But you got to find things to help you be positive. No, who here loves hanging out with somebody that's always complaining and whining and fighting you on everything and that voice in your head? Nobody likes that. So how can you expect to be that as a leader? Even when there's nothing to be positive about, right? If you have kids, always be positive. You're in a leadership role as a parent. And I know sometimes it's hard to do with the kids, right? You want to strangle them sometimes, right? But you got to have that in the back of your mind, right? You got to prospect consistently. Boy, that's if I was to be candid and transparent, man, that has been the bane of my existing in Primerica, right? Consistent prospecting, right? That's a leadership quality. Be on appointments. That's a leadership quality if there is one. You got to be on QAs. You got to constantly be sharing your story with new people. Invite guests. Always have people you're bringing on board, right? You have to do that for a period of time. Recruit, right? You got to start bringing new blood into the mix, new individuals that you want to spend time with and help and grow with, right? As a leader, you got to know and understand the art of closing business, of closing recruits, of closing somebody to follow you. You got to learn that art as a leader. Be a full service builder. Be fully licensed. Help a family from soup to nuts, including helping them become a district leader and building them. Right? That's what a full service leader is. The ideal thing is you want your clients, you want your teammates calling you for odd things like, hey, listen, what do you think my son should go to college? Right? That's not in the scope of Primerica, but that also tells you, that tells a lot about you when you have a teammate or a client calling you for that reason. Right? A leader follows up. Right? Again, I'm not the best at that. I'm reading these, I'm putting these together because I picked it up from different scenarios and old trainings that I've done and a whole bunch of lessons that I've heard, right? And I'm looking at these, man, which ones are me? I lack a lot of these, man, right? Right now, how do you know you're a leader? How do you know that these things have come into fruition? Here's the answer. Look back and see how many people are following. That's how you know. If you're moving forward and you look back and it's only you, you're not a leader. You're just taking a walk. But that can change. That's not to put you down. That's not to make you feel bad. No, that can change. I've been like that for literally, when I started this business, there was a gentleman that came in around the same time as me. His name was Christian Castro. This guy was 19 years old. I would never forget him. Great guy. Amazing skills, right? And literally for a year, he kicked my butt month in and month out. Now, I will tell you this, and you can ask Samir this. You can ask Shaq this. I was his first and biggest cheerleader. I swear to you, I was his biggest cheerleader. Because his success had nothing to do with my lack of success. Nothing. And now I was also the first one that I was, right? And Maurice knows, there you go. Maurice knows him, right? And I was the first one to get up and give him a pat. Man, great job. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was burned. I was like, I'm going to catch you one day, man. I'm going to beat you one day. Because I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't upset with him. It had nothing to do with him. I was upset with me. I haven't done what I've done. For a whole year, Ian, I had no one following me. It was just me. But here I am today as an RVP, and where is he? I'm not sure. I don't know. I hope he's doing okay. I'm sure he's successful at something else, some other venue, because he was that kind of guy. But I'm here, building my business, helping families, making a difference. Right? So you have to also have that persistency that, I should have put this on here. Now, probably in my opinion, one of the most important ones, I just thought about it. Number 11, leaders are mentally tough, man. And probably the one that's the foundation in all of this. You got to be mentally tough. You got to be a freaking, you got to, I was going to say psycho. I think that's the wrong word. But you got to let things, you know what? One thing I've learned about mental toughness, you know what helps you become mentally tough? Charmaine, it's great seeing you, love. You know what helps you become mentally tough? Being okay with you. If you're okay with you, man, you got it in you to be tough. Now, if you're not okay with you, fix it. And that will get you mentally tough. Right? So here's what you have to ask yourself. Is your example worth following? Ask yourself that. Right? If you're looking at these here and you're thinking to yourself, man, I want somebody who gets, who get in early, stay late, always positive, they prospect consistently, they're always on appointments, invite guests, so on and so forth. But I want somebody that recruits a ton. I want somebody that knows how to close. Here's the first thing you have to ask yourself. Is that me? Am I going towards that? Right? Am I worth following? This is a copycat business. The question is, are you the right cat to copy? Right? And it starts there. Ho, 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 ho. By the way, I'm putting these on here. That doesn't mean I've done all these. Okay, so please, I'm in the boats of many of you, man. Right? If you have not accomplished earning the kind of income you want, whether it's 10 grand a year, 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, or